My name is Bridget and I host 20-somethings career stories here on YouTube. It is a video podcast that highlights the careers of people who are in their 20s. Really quickly, I would like to ask you to subscribe to the channel. It really helps to show YouTube's algorithm that this content is worth showing to people. So super helpful if you could do that. Also, liking the videos helps with that as well. I am today hitting my 20th episode. I'm considering this my 20th episode at least. So I thought I would answer some questions that I commonly get from people I'm interviewing or people I'm talking about the podcast with. So let's get started. Initially, I was bored. I just wrapped up my master's. We're in a global pandemic. Lots of things are closed down. I basically needed a new challenge, a new hobby, if you will. So I wanted to learn video editing, and I chose a video podcast for that purpose. It has been a really cool experience so far, so I'm glad I did it. The second reason has to do with the topic of this podcast, and that would be kind of exploring how everybody has a different journey to figuring out their career, especially if you go to college. Those first couple years after college can be really challenging for a lot of people, and they feel a loss of identity because up until that point, you've been told you're a student, do your classwork, do extracurriculars, things like that, and then suddenly you're out of that kind of structured environment and on your own. I've been really fortunate to have a great response from people that I'm friends with or I haven't even spoken to in many years because I think the topic resonates with so many people. So they're usually pretty excited about the idea of being interviewed once I explain the purpose. By posting episodes to Twitter and Instagram and reaching out to a few local publications, I've been able to get interviews from people who just, happened upon the channel. So that by far has been the coolest part of this all, I think, in terms of finding people to interview. So some people have been curious as to what I use to actually execute these video podcasts, and it's really as simple as having a laptop, a free Zoom account to do the actual recording for me, and then a good lighting setup. So where I was initially filming my videos was a dark corner in my apartment, so I did invest in a couple of ring lights. The one that my phone is on right now is a tall standing one. I can adjust the height. I also have like a tinier one that can just sit on a desk. Both are fairly cheap from Amazon. My phone is a Google Pixel 3. I am a diehard Android person. Another vital piece of equipment I looked at was getting a mic because I could tell that just my phone itself wasn't going to be enough. I did try using a Yeti microphone, but I felt like that was a little too intense for my purposes, so I ended up purchasing this lapel mic, and it has done its job beautifully. In terms of doing editing and stuff like that, I do use a Mac. I have Adobe Premiere Pro, and I do know how to use Photoshop as well, so I use those two tools mainly, as well as Canva for the introduction segment that says 20-somethings career story. The answer is not that much. I currently work for a PR agency, so I have a lot of insight into how interviews operate with reporters and things like that, but I have never really interviewed people, which is probably pretty obvious, but I have had some experience with photography, very limited with videography, so again, that's really why I was starting this channel, because I really did want to improve upon my video skills. I don't actually know how long it takes me from start to finish to edit the videos, or even starting from that point of interviewing through the end of publishing and getting it out on different social media platforms. And I don't think I want to know how long it takes me, because then I think it would just make me anxious. It definitely is a time-consuming project, but I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't really enjoy doing it. So I don't think it's worth quantifying at this time. I tend to ask all of my interviewees the same basic questions. Prior to the interview, I will send them a list of 10 to 15 basic questions. I always start the actual interview itself by asking the person to tell me about their background or education. The purpose of this is I feel like that's a good way to have them naturally just kind of kick off the conversation. It's very easy to ask that broader question and answer that broader question than like a very specific thing. And from there, the conversation usually flows pretty naturally. So I have been asked by a lot of people where I see this YouTube channel going, and the answer is, I don't know. I plan to keep interviewing people as long as I can find people who are willing to participate. So far, I've had a lot of luck with that, but you never know. I might run out of, people or connections, and in which case, maybe I let it be what it was, or maybe I create a second series that focuses on people who are a little bit older, maybe young entrepreneurs. Who knows?